Yo, it's your boy Will, and I'm back in another video. And today's talk to be NBA Youngboy and Rich the Kid versus Migos and Rich the Kid. Now, I feel like an NBA Youngboy and Rich the Kid is for younger people, and Migos and Rich the Kid they made for older people, you know. Because if you was around 2013, 2014, 2015, 16, 17, and even 18, you would know what I'm talking about. And Migos and Rich the Kid was a good collab, for real. And Rich the Kid even is for the older people, like which I said already, who just entered into their 20s or early 30s. Why did I say that? Well, you can't go around and ask someone who's younger than me about NBA Youngboy and Rich the Kid. Collaboration, and a person would know them too. But if you ask them about Rich the Kid and the Migos, they wouldn't know nothing about them two. That collab between the two. They wouldn't know nothing about Skipper the Flipper. They wouldn't know nothing about OG Macko. They wouldn't know nothing about all of them. That's the real QC. That's the real QC right there in my book. The QC now, we had Lil Baby. We had City Girls. We have other people also. But back then, when QC wasn't really known yet, but it became famous over time. I mean, when it was becoming famous over time, we had Rich the Kid, we had Migos, we had Skipper the Flip, we had OG Macko, we had who else? Who else was in that label back then? I'm talking about the year 2014, bro. 2014, 2015, and 16. Even though OG Macko wasn't really with QC no more around the time in 2016. But he was in the QC label back then, 2015 and 2014, I would say. But if you go around and ask, older people about Rich the Kid and the Migos, they will know who that is. Them two is. They collaboration. What else? They wouldn't know Rich the Kid and the Migos because they was too young in that time period. Even though I was young also, but I'm an 03 baby. So I know something, you know. Now, actually, a lot of songs that has to do with Migos and Rich the Kid together. I was in 5th grade up to 7th or 8th grade. While they wave was going crazy. And right that time also we had Rich the Kid and we had Famous Dex too. We had two of them. We had Rich the Kid and we had Famous Dex. They was going hard around that time too. But Rich the Kid was still signed to QC, you know. And then he had his own label, which it was called Rich Forever. You know. If you ask me about Youngboy and Rich the Kid songs, which they collaboration. If you ask me about their collaboration together, I wouldn't know nothing but one song, and that was back then in 2020, in the year 2020, and the song name is, the only song I can remember from them two is Sex. That's the name of the song, is Sex, bro. And that song called Sex about them two is popular. It was going off on the end. That's how I know about the song, you know. But still, it was released in 2020 while everything in the world was going down. Even things still going down today. But worse with Trump in the seat. But that's one of the songs you need. I mean, hold on. Okay, that's one of the songs you can name from the two, from that whole collaboration. Is that one song called Sex. Even though the song called Sex the sex called Sex. The song called Sex. From the album called Nobody's Safe. You know. But like I said, things in the world are worse now. In the year of 2025. But that's one of the songs you can name from the two, from the whole collaboration of But with Migos and Rich the Kid, you can name multiple songs and hits. You can name songs and hits from them two, from that whole collaboration between the Migos and the Rich the Kid. Why? They turned the label QC. They turned the label. They were signed to the label called Quality Control. That's the name of the label the music label they were signed to. You know, y'all know about QC now because he very famous now, and what he did is he basically they basically call him a rat. He a rat in a lot of people's book, but still, that's not what I'm focused on. But with Migos and Rich the Kid, you can name multiple songs and hits from the two. Why? They were signed to the label QC back then. And in 2012, I'm talking about Migos though. Migos was the first one that was popping. Then Rich the Kid came along in the year of 2013. Even though Rich the Kid was been rapping, he just wasn't signed yet. But he came along on QC back in 2013, along with Migos. But I don't think Rich the Kid was signed to QC yet in 2013. He was actually signed in a year in 2014. That's when Migos were really popping out for real. So they were signed to QC back in 2012 up to 2017-ish, I would say. And it wasn't just those two. It was more people who turned up QC. But Rich the Kid and Migos is the headline of the label. Those was the main two who was the headlines of the label. From every project that was dropped between the two, you know. Whether if they were solo or not. Those are the main two that was having quality control popping back then, bro. Along with they little pendant with the pendants they had, bro. That was saying QC. Them chains, them gold chains they had with them diamonds in the pendant. QC. They had this stuff popping, bro. That was the main two they was having that stuff popping back then. Quality control. They had that stuff popping. But what else? The Migos and Rich the Kid got away from QC, and some people who got away from QC also. QC didn't been the same since Migos and Rich the Kid left, and everyone also who who I can list also, who was like connected to Migos and Rich the Kid, also left QC too. So For the rappers, I'm not naming right now, but the rappers that I can say that was connected to Rich the Kid and the Migos was Rich the, I mean, what his name? I said Rich the Kid. It was OG Maco. OG Maco, it was Skipper the Flipper, and that's it. The main two I can name. Skipper the Flipper. I think Josh Guapo was signed to QC also. Him too. If he was signed to QC also, but I know him. I know Josh Guapo is. If you know Josh Guapo, he from Atlanta, I think. He from Atlanta. And he a legend. He a legend from QC. He is connected to Rich the Kid. He connected to Migos. That's one of the people I can name also. We got Josh Guapo, we got Skipper the Flipper, we have OG Maco also. And some more, I know it's some more people I can name in that group who was in that label back in 2014, that when the stuff was popping for real. It was popping off. But still, they was connected to all the people that I just named just now was connected to Rich the Kid or the Migos. But yeah, I will talk about this more with you all. So yeah, it's your boy checking out, and I'm going.